Dumb blonde.
Athlete.
Nobody's come up to me and told me you're this stereotype. I've never heard that. Okay.
Jock, jughead, meathead, mean guy.
Would you say that's accurate?
In a lot of ways, yes. Sometimes, mostly no, though, but sometimes yes, in regards.
That I'm very motherly.
Yeah, probably.
I'm friends with everyone, I think. Who's nice to me, so. No.
I'm not sure. Are stereotypes necessarily bad? I'm thinking that maybe they could be positive also. So maybe they've helped me get the very few friends that I have. So
Probably not, no.
Why do you think that?
Because we all came together because we all played football together. So we do have some things in common.
I believe for the most part I would have the same friends.
Why do you think that?
Because most of the people I hang around I've been hanging around for a while, and I talk to the most, so I feel like I don't have a lot of, I don't know, yeah, I feel like the friends I have now would still be the same friends I have.
I think it's just a lot of pressure to keep that high standard, always being in shape, being an athlete. So I guess it's positive.
I think it's a natural first step that most people take. So probably 100%. And then I don't stay in the stereotypes because everybody's an individual. So I begin with that. If I see somebody and they look like they're like in high school here, if they're like a theater person or a football person or an academic person, I kind of start with that. But then I get to know them as a person.
I think stereotypes affect everybody. It could sometimes in a positive way, sometimes in a negative way.
All the time.
I think everyone does it. We can't help it.
I think it just helps us organize our thinking and how to work through a crowd of people, and you're putting a group like an entire school like this, and so I think it's just a way of sort of how our brains sort of compartmentalize.
I try not to, but I'm a human being, so I guess it happens. I try my best not to. With kids, never. Adults, try my best not to, but a lot of times stereotypes are inevitable, something you can't avoid.
Unfortunately, I think I stereotype people on a regular basis.
Does that affect your interactions with them?
No, I try to give people the benefit of the doubt.
To feel better about themselves.
I think it just helps us organize our thinking and how to work through a crowd of people, and you're putting a group like an entire school like this, and so I think it's just a way of sort of how our brains sort of compartmentalize things in order to get along with other people.
Human nature. It's something they can do to help themselves get into a situation they're not really familiar with, or someone that they're unknown with, that they can really help them put them in a category to minimize the stress of unknowns.
Why? Because of social media.
What about it?
What about it? Because people often give their opinions that people don't need to give, and people sometimes listen, and they shouldn't, but then it just gets stuck in your head, and then sometimes you just can't. It gets stuck in your head, and even though you don't want to stereotype, and you end up, it's still in there, and you got to try to fight against it.
They divide everyone.
Yeah, so there are more clicks.
How do they affect the school? I think, like I said, there's some of them are positive, so there's some positive stereotypes that you could begin to associate with, like if you're into the theater or you're into the arts or something like that. It kind of helps you fit in and find other people with kind of common interests.
I think negatively, because then you're going to get kids, if you don't look the right way, if you don't dress the right way, if you don't have enough friends, and then you're not going to end up having friends, and then you're going to get stuck up in the hallway standing by yourself before the bell rings, and that tears me apart, or else you're not going to have anybody to sit with at lunch, and that tears me apart.
I'd say it just comes from a need to be liked, something in the back of your head that makes you feel the need to be accepted by a certain group. I think peer pressure plays into it. I think that just that because everyone sees something in a different light based on their environment and where they come from. So it's very easy for someone to generalize another group of people and to discriminate them unknowingly sometimes. So
Jocks.
Sluts, druggies.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, I think you know like, there's the academic people who really want to do well and rank first in their class. I cheer for them; they're good. The theater ones, the sports ones, of all the different various sports: field hockey, football, soccer, and people that are into. There's a few people into woodshop. There's a very few people into guitar club and you know the various clubs and things like that. So those are the ones that come to mind.
That's it.
I think kids get put into an athlete column, academic column, nonconformist column, skateboarder column sometimes.
You know, but see now when I was growing up, the jocks, the freaks, the nerds, you know, the vapors, like that. And then like, you know, the poor little special ed kids that people, because if you don't look the right way, if you're not that smart, they do that too. Yeah.